Hello and welcome everybody to Civil 360. My name is Veer Pratap Singh and I welcome you all back to Civil 360. My dear friends, in the previous session, we discussed on the topic that was associated with the Swadeshi and the Bengal Partition, wherein we had taken a brief idea as to what and who were the moderates and who were the extremists. That is what we had understood in the previous session. And how did the Bengal Partition happen? And after that, how did the Swadeshi movement unfold? Okay, so we looked into all those aspects. Now, in the today's session, what we shall be looking into is going to be the Surat Split. I had given you an understanding as to what is the Surat Split. That means the session of the Congress that happened in the year of 1907, which was presided by Rash Behari Ghosh. And in that session, the INC is going to be divided between the moderates and the extremists, wherein the extremists are going to leave the INC. That is what we had taken a brief idea about, and we shall be discussing that in detail in the today's session. Okay. Moreover, apart from this, what we understand is that there is going to be the apart from Surat Split, we shall be looking into the division of extremists and moderates also. And in that extremists and moderates, we shall also be looking into what is going to be the brief understanding and the categorization between the extremist and moderate, because what are those basic essential things on the basis of which we can categorize that who are the moderates and who are the extremists. All right, so this is something that we shall be doing in this particular session. And after that, what is going to be the Lucknow session? We shall be talking on that also. So let us just take firstly a brief idea as to what we have understood in the previous session. We understood that there was one Bengal partition that was being decided in the year of December 1903. Okay. After that, there was an anti-partition campaign that was launched under the moderates under Prathavish Chandra Ray, okay, Surendranath Banerjee and K.K. Mitra. However, that anti-partition, it was not that successful, and the Bengal partition was done. After that, the Swadeshi movement is going to start, and with the launch of Swadeshi movement, by the time period, by the time period of 1907, what is going to happen is that there was a tussle that was created between the extremists and the moderates, and because of that, in the Surat session, what is going to happen that the Congress is going to be divided between the extremists and the moderates. Okay, and after that there is going to be the whole of the thing, it is going to be means the political struggle, it is going to be just be devastated. So we shall be looking into that. But prior to this, I also want to firstly explain the idea as to who are the moderates and who are the extremists. All right, what is the basic categorization of the moderates and the extremists? Because we had taken a brief idea between the moderates and the extremists as to what is going to be them. Okay, now if I have to explain this particular idea of the moderates and the extremists, what do I mean to tell you here? We can understand it by one particular example that was given by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay, what had he told? What had he told? That he had told that the extremist of today will be the moderate of tomorrow, just like the moderate of today was the extremist of yesterday. So what do we understand is that with the passing of time, the extremistic mindset, the things that were considered extremist would not be considered extremist in the coming time period. And I might have given you the example of the LGBTQ also, that 40 years ago, the LGBTQ, it was considered to be a very extremist idea, but it is generally accepted today. However, it is not broadly accepted, but some of the people have generally digested that idea. So when we are talking on the moderates and extremists, it is basically on the ideology, okay, that is going to make it extremist or moderate. It is going to be the ideology that is going to make them extremist and moderate. And in order to attain that ideology, what is going to be the method that they are going to adopt that is going to make them extremist and moderate? Because what had I told you is that here, when we are talking about the extremist and moderates, so we are connecting them in the context of nationalism in India. And when we talk about nationalism in India, what can we say is that the extremists and moderates, we can associate them majorly with the INC. So when the INC was created in the year of 1885, what do we understand is that during the 1885, after that I had told you that there was the moderate phase from 1885 till 1905, and there was the extremist phase from the 1905 till 1911 or 1918. I had told you that. So during this point of time, what do we understand is that the moderates, okay, during the first phase, when we talk, okay, that during the 1885 till 1905, when we talk about the INC, okay, so in the INC, whoever were the participants in the INC, we call those people as nationalist. That means the people who were focusing, or the Indians who were working towards the Indian nationalism, who were creating an Indian national movement. So the people who were associated with INC, we call them what? Nationalist. Now, in that nationalist only, during the time period of 1885 till 1905, we are telling that the moderates it was a moderate phase. Why? Because here the composition of the Congress, or the composition of the political activity in India, it was majorly dominated, okay, it was majorly dominated by moderates, and the extremists were little. Okay, the extremists, they are going to be little, the moderates, they are going to be in majority. But when we talk about the time period from this 1905 till 1911, so here what do we see is that the majority, okay, the majority here, it is going to be of extremists, and the moderates, they are generally going to reduce. Okay, so here that was one understanding. Moreover, there is another understanding here, that why do we categorize these time periods into moderate time period and the extremist time period, is that the political activity that happened during the 1885, from 1885 till 1905, whatever political activity happened, that political activity, it was majorly dominated by the moderates. Okay, it was dominated by the moderates. But when we are talking about the political activity from 1905 till 1911, so it was majorly dominated by extremists. So here, that is also the second categorization that we can do in the domination aspect, that who dominated the political activity. Now, political activity, you might be wondering that what am I referring to whenever I'm talking about political activity. So what do I mean here is that between the 1885 till 1905, when the INC was created, that INC had certain aims and objectives. Now, in those aims and objectives, what is going to be the idea is that they wanted to, create politically education within the people of India. They wanted to unite the different sections of the people of India. They wanted to unite the different political parties of India. They wanted sizable number of reforms in the India from the Britishers. So all these were what? These were aims and objectives that were there for the INC. Now, in order to fulfill those aims and objectives, you are going to do a political movement, right? Now, that political movement, it is of various types. Okay, that political movement, it can be of various types, either protest, either this, but either protest, either writing petitions, either doing that. So these, whenever I'm talking about political activity, it is going to include, like in today's time, if you have certain issues from the government, you are going to do a political activity in order to get your demands fulfilled from the government. That political activity, it can, include within it writing petitions, writing memorials, okay, doing the public gatherings, doing the protest, giving speeches, and all this. These are what? Political activities. But on the basis, means these are political activities, okay, and the methodologies that I am adopting to fulfill my demands. So here also we can categorize that. Okay, we can categorize that. What I mean to say is that the INC had certain aims and objectives, and in order to fulfill those aims and objectives, the first section, that is the moderate section between 1885 till 1905, they are going to carry out the political activities, okay, in the methodologies they believed. And from 1905 till 1911, the extremists carried out the political activities in the methodologies that they believed. So we'll also talk on the methodologies that what they adopted to. So here this is going to be that major scenario. Now when we are talking about these moderates and the extremists, so what do